Okay. The agenda for today and tomorrow is only focusing on iOS. Okay, focusing on iOS applications. And for these iOS applications, what I have done is I have downloaded one application, UICatalog application. Okay, this is the app that I have downloaded. I have directly downloaded this app source code from GitHub, and I am using that particular app. And another app that I'm using out over here is, the SaaS demo app that you have shared. These two things I'm going to use for our complete iOS scenarios. Whatever the scenarios we have studied in Android, the similar set of scenarios we are going to study: handling of a text field, buttons, checkboxes, pop-ups or alerts, basically swipe functionality, each and everything, we are going to study on this particular applications. And these are the two apps that I'm using. And if you come across any other app and if you feel that it's bit interesting, do share a few more apps so that we can explore on all those apps. And firstly, I just want to show you from where we need to download this UIKit catalog app. So UIKit catalog for iOS, I'm just searching here and I'm navigating to this GitHub. And from here, I just downloaded this source code. And usually this code is going to download as a zip file. And once this zip file got downloaded, I just performed an unzip operation and I extracted that complete code, and I have a place at that complete code here. Okay, and I have a place at that complete code here. So usually for these iOS applications, so we need two different types of app files with us. If your requirement is to handle iPhone simulators, we need an .app file. And if your requirement is to handle iPhone real devices, okay, real devices, we need a .ipa file. And for this .ipa file, we need all these provisional certificates and some kind of a confirmation from the developer perspective, and a lot of certificates and all those things we need to do for this iOS real devices. For now, we will be focusing more on a simulators, and at the end, I will definitely show you how exactly we can trigger this one on a real devices. Also, I'll show you on a quick glimpse. Okay, and after this one, basically, in order to work on any kind of an applications on an iOS, I have downloaded the source code now. And before jumping on with the app files and how we need to use these, okay, how exactly we need to use these mobile applications automation on an iOS, first and foremost thing that we should know is about the configuration part. Though we have covered the configuration part earlier, I just want to give you a quick glimpse on the configuration that we need to do on a Mac machine. Okay, this is the configuration that we guys need to do on a Mac machine. So the first thing is you need to download all these stuff. So JDK, Eclipse, Appium Desktop, Node.js, and an Android Studio. These are all the things that we need to download ahead in your machine, and you need to install these softwares in your machine. Directly, you can search for JDK download in a Google, Eclipse download in Google, Appium Desktop in a Google, Node.js, Android Studio. All these things you will find as a DMG file for a Mac. You can download these DMG files, which are a generic installation files itself, and you can double tap on them and you can install those files. On top of this one, what additionally we need to do whenever we are working on an iOS is basically we need to download an Xcode, and this Xcode are downloaded from our app store. Whatever the app store you have, Apple store, you just log in into this app store and here search for Xcode and download this Xcode from this app store. So whenever you downloaded the Xcode from an app store, by default, the latest version of the Xcode will be installed to your machine. Usually, few people will suggest that you can download the app Xcode from directly official websites, not only from an app store, but the suggested way is go download this Xcode from an app store itself. Okay, go and download this one from an app store. Once this configuration is completed, Once we are done with all these configuration, then precisely on Appium, okay, we need to run certain commands in a terminal. So there are about 5 to 6 different commands are there that we need to run on a terminal. So the first command is you need to install the homebrew. And once the homebrew got installed, we need to install the Appium. And while installing the Appium, if at all you are encountering any kind of an issues, we have certain options. Basically, you just need to use these change permissions, these two commands. And once you are done with all these things, you need to install the iDevice installer. And whenever you encounter any iDevice installer error, you just need to use this command. And on top of this one, you need to install this cartridge, and later you need to install this iOS deploy. So these are the things that you need to install. Roughly, there are about 5 to 6 commands that you need to trigger in your Mac terminal to do a configuration. And once you are done with all these things, then the next point here is in Windows, we usually update the environmental variables with an Android and Java home, all these things, right? The similar way in a Mac also, we need to update this information in a bash profile. Where you will find this bash profile means in the users, in your username folder. If you go there, so here I'm just going down. So here /users, and I'm just navigating to my username here. And this username by default, the hidden files are not displaying. You can press Command Shift and dot, all the hidden files will display. And here there is a bash profile. Right click on a bash profile, open with a text file. If you are unable to find a bash profile here, then what you need to do means you need to open a Mac terminal, and on that terminal vim.bash profile, you can click on it. Automatically the bash profile will be created for you. Okay, you can just do this operation. Automatically the bash profile will be created, and by default the bash profile content is empty. So what we need to do means in this bash profile, okay, what are all these commands I have listed down? You can simply copy these commands and paste these commands in a bash profile just by updating your system folder location. See here, I'm just setting this Android home, and this is what the location where exactly my Android home is. And later I'm setting the platform tools, and a tools has a bin folder. All these things I'm setting to the path. And the similar way, I'm just updating the Java home, and all these things I'm setting to a path variable. I'm copying this a complete information, and I am pasting here in a bash profile. Okay, this complete information I have placed it in a bash profile. And once you have updated this a bash profile in the same folder where you have a bash profile, right click on a bash profile, copy it and paste it again, and rename it to .jet profile. So on a Mac recently, what's happening is basically you need to update these .jet profile and as well as a bash profile with all the required information like an Android home and all those things. So you need to update these two places. Once these two things got updated, once you have updated these two folders, basically the bash profile and as well as a zip file, to cross-check basically whether this machine got a configured successfully or not, you can open a terminal and you can try adb space devices. If you are getting the list of devices, then you can confirm that the configuration is successful. This is the basic thing, guys. So here we have a steps. The first step, I'm just repeating, the first step is download all these files and install them. And the second step is right from one. Here we have all the 5 different steps are there. One is install a homebrew, next install Appium from the terminal, next install the iDevice installer, cartridge and iOS deploy. That's it. Once you are done with all these things, this is what a second step is. Second step below. And let me add a note here for this. The first step, this is what the first step below. Okay, this is what the first step is. Once you are done with the second step and as well as the first step, then this is what your third step is. Okay, so I'm just going down and let me add this as a third step below. I'm just placing this third step here. That's it. These are the 3 different steps that you need to follow while configuring. Okay, so while configuring your Mac machine. Okay, perfect. Once you are done with all these things, then definitely you are in a good shape to kickstart with a mobile automation on this particular Mac machine. Okay, so I'm done with all these configuration. Additionally, there is a one more small point that we need to do. Fourth step below. Okay, so what exactly the fourth step we need to do? Open your Appium desktop. Okay, once after you open your Appium desktop, let me show you here. I'm just closing this up, and here edit the configuration. Click on edit the configuration, and then update Android home and Java home locations here. Okay, so in the editor configuration, I'm just updating the Java home and as well as the Android home locations. These values you have already placed in a bash profile. The same values you just need to place it, save and restart. Just restart your Appium server. That's it. These are all the three different or four different steps which you need to do as a kind of a prerequisites for configuring this Mac machine. Okay. Gets. And once we have a configured everything, then if at all you are working on your projects, assume that your project is they have a development team and those guys are developing, they will be providing you the app files for your application. As we are working on a generic applications, that's the reason I have shown you how to download this UI kit catalog. So here is a reference link for that. Here you can download this UI kit catalog, and here is the folder where exactly we have this UI kit folder. Okay, I just placed it this UI kit folder, and UI kit catalog is having a two different sub folders. I'm just navigating to the UI kit catalog here. And how exactly we can work on these apps is, okay, so once we are done with the complete configuration, okay, once we are done with the complete configuration part, then simply navigate to the downloaded app folder location, and inside that location usually you can find an .xcode project. Inside that you can find a .xcode project here. This is the one. Okay, double tap on that particular file, so whenever you perform a double tap on that particular file, automatically it will launch that particular project in the Xcode. Okay, automatically it will launch that particular project in an Xcode. See here, this is what an UI kit catalog is, and this is what launched in this particular Xcode. Okay, this is what an app that we have a downloaded. So from Google or from GitHub, we have a downloaded the source code of that particular application. That's not an actual application that we want to use. We have a just downloaded only the source code. Now from the source code, we need to generate the app file to handle in simulator. So what exactly a simulator means? It's an iOS virtual devices. So using an Xcode, you can create your simulators, and you can use those simulators for our automation testing. Okay, for our automation testing, you can use those simulators. So here on this particular Xcode, you can see that UI Kit catalog is an application, and this is what a device is, iPhone 12 Pro Max, and these are the list of simulators that is supported. Assume that you have a connected your real device, that real device will be populated somewhere here. Okay, your real device will also be populated somewhere here, and these are the complete set of devices whatever we have, and I'm choosing iPhone 12 Pro Max for installing this UI kit catalog. So what are we going to do right now? We are going to build this application UI kit catalog on this iPhone 12 Pro Max. Once the build is successful, this application, it will generate a .app file which is compatible for this particular device. So what I'm doing right now, here is a build button. I'm just clicking on this build button. It will take a few seconds to build this particular application on that particular device. So here we got a build successful. launching that particular device. So it will try to launch that iPhone 12 Pro Max, whatever the device is there, that particular device, it will try to launch it. And this application will be installed. And you can see that running UICatalog on an iPhone 12 Pro Max. If you can see this iPhone 12 Pro Max, whatever the app file source code we have downloaded, the complete app source code is being populated here. Gets. And now if you want, I don't want to continue this Xcode build, I'm just doing a stop. And once you have a stop this one, in the source code, basically, there will be a products folder. And inside the products folder, you can find an UI kit catalog .app file. This is what a .app file is. We are using basically, this is what a .app file is that we need to use. So whenever you select this .app file, at the extreme right end, you can find a full path. Okay, you can find a full path. So copy the full path and paste this the full path of that app in your desired capabilities or Appium inspector or your director program. But this is the way how exactly we can generate an .app file from the source code that we have downloaded from Google. Okay, good. Done the deal. Do you have any questions for me on this topic, guys, before jumping on with the further concept?
No,
Okay.
Surinder.
Yeah, cool. Done the deal. So what we need to do right now is, so whatever the app files that we have generated right now, using this app file, we need to prepare certain test scripts. So let us rejoin the session and let us discuss that particular point.